Very good evening, friends. Meeting after a long time with Materia Medica sessions. So, we have finished many remedies from the fourth year syllabus. Today, we're going to learn very short remedy from the Boericke's Materia Medica. But I have used many times in my practice. So, very useful in practice. That is Vinca Minor. This remedy is a plant remedy. This remedy I have used for specifically for seborrheic dermatitis, where there is a tremendous eruptions over there on the scalp with lot of oozing. That oozing is of a sebum like mucus discharge, because of which the hair gets tangled with each other, called as a plica polonica is the condition for that. And many times there is a baldness, those spots where the eruptions are there, those comes out with loss of hairs over there, the baldness in particular spots. Because of this infective focus is characteristic of this Vinca minor. Many people say that it is scalp psoriasis. No, but it is not scalp psoriasis. Here it is these are the eruptions which looks like a mesarium eruption. In mesariums, the eruptions are of similar character, but in mesarium, there is a lot of pustular discharge, and with thick scabs, the eruptions are there. And if you press over that, the pus comes out from sides. That is the mesarium eruption. Here, the pus is not so much marked, but discharge is like a sebum, like a mucus, very sticky, gluey, and because of which hair becomes absolutely entangled. And that's why this remedy works beautifully in patients who have such types of seborrheic dermatitis over there, specifically of a scalp. This works wonderfully. So this is one condition for which I have used. Second condition for which I have used this remedy was for the vertigo. Vertigo, where there is a whirling sensation. Patient talks, doctor, sab ghumta hai. That is very typical of this people, associated with tinnitus, ringing, noisy in the ears. Looks like a Meniere syndrome. This remedy is again one important remedy. If it is associated with eruptions on the scalp and eruptions behind the ears, I used to think about the Vinca minor. And third condition for which I used to think, if the scalp eruption, they are associated with female complaints, specifically at the climactic period, where the passive hemorrhages from the uterus are there, and that bleeding is continuous oozing like a stillego, like a sickle corn, and that passive hemorrhage, if it persists for longer time of duration, specifically in the climactic period, with typical such eruptions which are there on the scalp, this remedy do a wonder. So these are conditions for which I used, but many times I used it for the scalp complaint, the scalp dermatitis or seborrheic dermatitis. So these words one should keep in their mind so that they never forget the Vinca minor. Open Boericke's Materia Medica. It's short remedy. We'll finish it. Vinca minor, it is lesser periwinkle. A remedy for skin affections, eczema, especially plica polonica. Also for hemorrhages and diphtheria. Plica polonica is nothing but the entanglement of the hairs. They gets matted together because of the discharge from the eruptions over there and eczema over there. Head, tearing pain in the vertex, ringing and whistling in ears, whirling vertigo. Underline this word, whirling vertigo. With flickering before eyes, spots on scalp, oozing moisture, matting hairs together, corrosive itching of the scalp. These patients, they scratches the scalp tremendously. Bald spots, plica polonica, bald spots, and this baldness is there, or this alopecia is there. This is because of secondary to the infection. Irresistible desire to scratch. Nose, the tip gets red easily. Moist eruptions on the septum. Stoppage of one nostril. The sores in the nose. Seborrhea upper lip and base of the nose. So seborrhea, that is the more seborrheic secretions, and that is the dermatitis. That's what here it happens. So their faces, they becomes, there is a discharge around the nose, at the base of the nose, and these secretions are there. Throat, difficult swallowing, ulcers, frequent hawking, and diphtheria. But more important is the female complaint. Excessive menstruation with great weakness, the passive uterine hemorrhages. Underline the word passive. It is not active bleeding like phosphorus. It is a passive. It is like Astilacoa. It is like Trillium pendulum. It is like Sickle core, where the passive venous bleeding or passive bleeding is there. It is secondary to the generally because where the musculature, uterine musculature is loose enough, and because of which discharge happens to be there or it remains persistent. Menorrhagia, continuous flow, particularly at climacteric. So climacteric complaints like this is one important remedy one should think. Hemorrhages from the fibroids. So miasm, you can think about, this is a very typical psychotic miasmatic remedy. Even the seborrheic dermatitis goes in favor of psychotic miasm. Skin, the corrosive itching, great sensitiveness of the skin with redness, soreness from slight rubbing. So skin is very sensitive, it is very itchy, there is a corrosive itching. Eczema of head and face, pustules, itching, burning, offensive odor. So face, you can get many eruptions, even on scalp you get many eruptions, and patient scratches and it bleeds and it burns a lot. The hairs getting matted together. So this is very small remedy. One should not forget the word atopic dermatitis. Second, passive uterine hemorrhages, and third important thing, whirling vertigo. Three words defines the Vinca minor. Relationship, compare oleander and staphylos aureus. Both remedies for the similar eruptions on the scalp. One should compare the staphylos aureus, but staphylos aureus has its own state of indignation, mortification, which is there. Oleander is also a good remedy which has been proved, and that's why you have to take into consideration rest of the symptoms along with the eruptions on the scalp. Dose first to third potency is mentioned by Boericke, but I used to use generally 12C or 30C. It is, you can repeat it in a better manner. You can repeat at least for a week or 10 days, and you can see the results of Vinca minor. So this is not remedy, should not be given in 1 or 2 doses. It will not going to work. We have to go on repeating and repeat at least for 8 to 10 days. That works beautifully. So very short remedy which we have finished in today's session, that is Vinca minor, a plant remedy, and a remedy for atopic dermatitis, then the whirling vertigo, and third passive uterine hemorrhages. So thank you. That's all for today. Tomorrow we'll definitely meet with next lecture. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.